call yourself a wrestling fan, and you know what? That's a little too long. Let's change it up. I will now be your instructor in Smarksmanship. Today's lesson is why the NWO should never have worked. Now you're probably thinking to yourself, Smark, why? The NWO was one of the greatest things to happen in the history of professional wrestling. Let me stop you right there and proceed to learn you some knowledge about how incorrect you are. WCW was a unique Southern promotion that had different superstars, a different look, and was generally a much better competitor towards the WWF. Our first suspect in Whodunit Championship Wrestling is all the way at the top, Ted Turner. Without his infinite checkbook, we would have never seen superstars like Hulk Hogan, Macho Man Randy Savage, Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, Brutus the Barber Beefcake. What I'm trying to say is the first step of identifying a problem is looking at its base, and WCW relied too heavily on name recognition from established bands from the WWF to build its success upon. If you leave your original talent in the dust in favor of what came before, you compromise your support system. Suspect number 2 is the man, the myth, the icon, Hulk Hogan. Lovely man, and I'm quite the fan of his. If you haven't seen the interview that I did with him back when we were covering WWE 2K15 for AfterBuzz TV, look at that. Click on that annotation, it'll open up in a new window, and you can go watch the interview after today's lesson is done. Here's my problem with Hulk in this instance. He goes through what is widely considered a career-altering gimmick change, injecting the most current, most popular contents into an older package, and by trying to use new information on an older system, there's just a connection loss there, you know? Like, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. As a result, we have the same Hogan. He's just wearing black and white. We have the same shirt ripping, the same posing. Replace brother with Jack, and you've got the same guy doing the same shtick. Hell, there was even a report from Kevin Nash saying that when the original trio was trying to record that first iconic NWO cutout black and white promo, when Hogan was given the reins, he ended up doing the same old stuff that he'd been doing for the past 20 years. So at this point, the workers in the back know what's up. If you're at the NWO, you're guaranteed the big bucks. The story starts to change, and the biggest development was the addition of our third culprit, Eric Bischoff. Here was the moment when the NWO should have instantly become inert and fallen away. Once the establishment was revealed to be the head of the anti-establishment, the paradigm shifted, thus making the NWO a corporate entity. So check it out. Here's a similar instance to point out this inconsistency. The WWF did the same thing, but on a smaller scale. When the big reveal of who the mastermind behind the ministry was revealed to be Mr. McMahon,
it's me, Austin! Oh, son of a bitch!
The corporate ministry was formed, thus making the original entity of the ministry a little bit less important, just to set up the feud between Austin and McMahon again. In that regard, however, the feud and the placement of McMahon was successful because they knew where the feud was going to go. The NWO, on the other hand, ballooned until it popped, and I will share with you the exact moment when it popped. And no, it was not ready to rumble. August 8th, 1998. The place, Sturgis, South Dakota. The event, Road Wild. The match, Hollywood Hogan and Eric Bischoff versus Diamond Dallas Page and Jay Leno. A day which will live in infamy. What can be said that hasn't been said so far? The booking speaks for itself. So I'll let it. If you have the network, and I know you have the network, find it, watch it, experience it, cry, probably do SMH, just make sure that your hand doesn't have anything sharp in it. You might die. Really. It's that bad. Time to take the mask off of the weird, creepy guy, all Scooby-Doo style. You can't blame Ted. He truly had no idea what his company needed to do to boost ratings creatively, so he did what every executive did, and he just threw money at it. Bischoff was the kid on the playground who, once all the cool kids stopped paying attention to him, he had to do anything he can to get that attention right back on himself. Attention whore, I guess is what you would call it. And if you think the plan all along was to have Bischoff be the financial backer of the NWO, you seriously underestimate Bischoff's 1, love of money, and 2, love of being considered a creative genius. That leaves us with Hulk Hogan. What was the catalyst? Fans were getting tired of the same old red and yellow and wanted something new. If you remember earlier, I commented that Hogan was doing the same old thing, just with a different color palette. This was made even more apparent when he fought The Rock at WrestleMania. The crowd saw through this facade of the different guy and made Hogan re-emerge as the red and yellow hero that he always had in his heart. Whose fault is it that Hogan's non-change worked? Who accepted Hogan unwillingly from some deep-seated feeling of nostalgia? You! All of you young Hulkamaniacs who were eating your vitamins and saying your prayers got to an age where being a fan of Hogan was getting too passé. You grew out of Hulkamania to try to be cool, because that's what being a teenager is all about. Casting off what you did as a child to make yourself seem reinvented and different and more adult. What you, yes you, failed to realize is that Hulk Hogan never changed. And you never changed. As the business changed, the more it stayed the same. And with your help, because you had to hold on to that nostalgia, you allowed the NWO and WCW to change the professional wrestling industry as we knew it. And without the NWO, things might be a little bit more hectic now, so maybe that's not necessarily a bad thing. Why don't we take a look and see what the NWO and WCW popularized? I said popularized, not innovated. What they brought to the mainstream was realism, utilizing more real names instead of characters, utilizing more real-life situations for angles to make the product seem more edgy and unexpected. WCW may have popularized it, but ECW accentuated it to that hardcore fan in the perfect way, and the WWF changed it and altered it so that the mainstream audience could even latch onto it more. So while WWF and ECW were making strides in their areas, the WCW was putting all of their money in NWO without giving it a chance to change or evolve, and as a result, it died a really stupid, useless death that nobody really remembers. Splitting up into smaller groups only made the original idea seem dirty. It left a bad taste in your mouth. Hell, the BWO had better booking and it was only supposed to be a one-night stand. Oh, that's it for class this week. Here's some homework. Tell me in the comments down below what your least favorite NWO moment was. Bonus points if you can find it on the network so you can share it with the whole class. And as long as you keep showing up to class, someday maybe you can get an A+ in Smarksmanship. Class dismissed.